Hold on. Oh, I guess we do it. I don't know why. It's become a thing. This whole, drop into the frame for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. But I've done it. I've done it a few times. I've done it before. What's up, y'all? Today's the 9th, technically. It's past midnight. For me, it's still kind of the 8th. But it is the 9th, technically, of December 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is In The Image Clothing Company Podcast. Episode 188. Titled The Cart Before the Horse. Yikes. What's up? This is what we do here. We discuss the gospel of Jesus Christ. What that really means is the good news of God Himself. Okay? Yikes. No religion, no claim, no opinion, no belief. Nothing to care about other than, the truth. We call it the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And by we, I mean God in Scripture. We read from the Book of Mormon, the Holy Bible. We read true doctrine of Jesus Christ, the man who is God. Episode 187, the last one here of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, is titled Jesus Christ is God. Wow. Don't believe me, Evan Strong. Don't believe In the Image Clothing Company with anything we say, but that's what we do on this 4th of In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, this is only 1/4 of what we do. Our podcast here, we just discuss life as it is. We're all human beings. The same thing, universally designed in the image of God, Jesus Christ Himself, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, 3 of our 5-word company name is really in God's name, truly. So, yeah, we're all on the same earth, and we're all, just doing the same thing here in different ways. Or we're doing different things in the same ways sometimes, and anyway, we're sons and daughters of God, okay? Welcome. These are a lot of bold things I'm saying. I speak boldly, okay? Condemn me for what I have said, by all means. You're only judging at that point. Neither of one of us can change it, and I can't take it back. Anything I've said in the past. So anyway, here we are. Let's talk about this. The cart before the horse. We'll talk about the other 3 sides of In the Image Clothing Company in here where we do, and while I speak, if I get to, without, being cut off by something. Storage space, battery percentage, blunt, bold, raw, and real. In the Image Clothing Company, here we are. Pure harmony. Man, this is funny. Let's talk about this. There's a dog food brand out there, and there's a dog food brand that's made some food that's in my hand. This is funny. I do things where I do the things that I do. My name is Evan Strong, the founder in this for life of In the Image Clothing Company. What I do a lot of the time is just shout out good brands doing good things, good companies doing good things, good people doing good stuff, if you will, just to show it as real as it is. Pure Harmony is this dog food brand, and I feel like they're doing great things. I just feel something about them. It's truly a feeling. Okay. Really, truly, actually. And that's the point. This is the Pure Harmony branded chicken and rice recipe dog food. Okay. We've got multiple kinds of dog food. Puppy food, senior dog food. They've got fish and beef and chicken. Okay, and whatever else they do. I've gone to the grocery store, and at the grocery store they sell dog food. The one that I go to most commonly, the grocery store that I go to most commonly sells dog food, and Pure Harmony just stood out to me. 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company, we specialize in dogs. We'll get to it where we do, but this is the thing. I don't have a dog yet. Purebred standard poodles, we specialize in. Under In the Image Clothing Company, poodles. Anyway, we'll talk about it where we do throughout this, but the point is, I have this food here, and I don't have a dog for it. The cart before the horse. I've purchased some, dog doo-doo, dog bowel movement, dog potty, whatever you want to call it. The excreted bowel movement truly is what it is from the dogs, right after the dogs go to the bathroom, if you will. You pick it up, and throw it away. Keep the environment nice and clean. I mean, animals naturally would just go to the bathroom and wherever they do, but dogs are in our environment, in our man-made societies. We clean up after them. I don't have a dog yet. I've got some bags to clean up my dog's doo-doo. Okay? Bowls for food and hydration for my dogs to come. A harness. A leash. A collar, which, you know, I don't know how much I'll use this exact collar, but I have it for many reasons. And that's what I'm saying, is I have certain things for many reasons before I have the things that the things are for. Let's talk about this, okay? In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company. And yes, this is a podcast on the gospel of Jesus Christ. Stick around. You'll see how. It's the truth of all things, okay? And that's how. We're just discussing things as they are because we do, you know, that's an entire 1/4 of our company. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, letting dogs stay natural, specializing in purebred standard poodles, we give information that applies to all dogs. The same thing we do for human beings on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. When we talk about allowing the body to work. Okay, letting dogs stay natural, allowing the body to work. Feeding. Go. The cart before the horse. We let dogs stay natural. I just think it's crazy. I mean, let's talk about the main side of In the Image. Can we talk about some things? We talked about the fact that this is blunt, bold, raw, real In the Image Clothing Company. Let's talk about this, man. I mean, what is it? What does it mean? What does it mean to have the cart before the horse? If you know us, you know. We do things how we do things here, and they're weird. They're structured backward. Shout out to Pure Harmony. I guess that's the point. Let's not move past that. Pure Harmony is a dog food brand, as you saw there, as you can see here. That's a brand, Pure Harmony, registered trademark. I mean, they're trademarked. It's what it is. It's a brand. I'm careful of what brands I talk about, but there's certain brands that I certainly talk about. I feel something with Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. You know, this isn't like, you know, pleading for them to, like, do brand deals with us one day and give us free food for all of the poodles that we will have. But maybe they will. Okay? I just feel stuff sometimes, man. I just know some things sometimes. I know some good companies are doing some good things, and I shout them out where I do. I've talked about Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, before this time that I'm saying it. Under In the Image Clothing Company content, under the gift of video, okay? But this is the point, man, is I don't even have a dog right now at all under my ownership or possession to feed this food to. And I'm not planning on eating it. I'm vegetarian. This is chicken and rice recipe. Dog food from Pure Harmony, the brand. But it is what it is. You know, what does it really mean to shout some good people out? I mean, look at this. I'm just going to kind of rotate this. For those of you in visual plus audio, you can just kind of read the packaging as well as you can through the gift of video, okay? But here you go. Yeah, this is Pure Harmony's dog food. And I'm showing it here on an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast in my possession before I have a dog to feed it to. And so there you go. That's what their packaging looks like as of me purchasing this one on today's date. Technically the 9th, because it's past midnight from the 8th of December, 2025. There you go. Okay, made in the USA. USA, United States of America. Super premium. So it says, carefully blended whole nutrition. Nutrition. We talk about feeding dogs naturally under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, and I'm sitting here as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, with 1/4 of us being In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, and I'm discussing this dog food brand that I have no personal experience with yet. And it's been many, many months. I've walked through the grocery store and I've seen this dog food on the shelf in the dog food aisle. Pure Harmony, the brand. And I've been like, man, I feel like one day we're going to do stuff with them. We're going to do things with other companies and organizations as time progresses, you know, things with animal shelters, you know, keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes. And stuff like this, you know, I shout out brands where I do. Zero Shoes, the brand. I've got the Zero Ridgeway model boots here. I've actually got the Denver leather boots sitting right here in this bag because they've got some mud on them still. I've got multiple pairs of Zero Shoes. I've got the canvas black Denver model from Zero Shoes as well. You know, and I've had other pairs from them. Also, I mean, you know, I just shout good brands out doing good things, and really those are the two main ones that I've talked about up until today's date. Pure Harmony. Dog food. I haven't tried it personally, and I probably won't be doing so because I am vegetarian, and it has chicken in it. But for the dogs, you know, I feel like this is just what we need. And that's crazy to say, but I've said it before. I've said it months ago on an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I think I've said it at least a couple other times than just this time, you know, on In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I don't know. I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay. I bought it. It's right here. I showed you it. I mean, brand new, you know, sealed still. I'm not planning to return it. I mean, if I do, I do. It's not the plan, though. Even if I do, it's like, well, you went out of your way, in a sense, and bought a bag of dog food from a specific brand to shout out on your clothing company's podcast where you're discussing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And this is for dogs you don't even have yet. Okay. Even if I did return it, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's about the principle of doing it, showing it, shouting them out. Good brands doing good things. I don't think I'm going to return it. I'm going to have dogs probably sooner than I even know. We're moving down to St. George, Utah. We meaning In the Image Clothing Company, but Evan Strong, which is me, the man speaking, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, in this for life base camp will be set up, if you will, right? That's what we call it. I don't know. That's what I've been calling it. In St. George, Utah. Okay, we live up Utah as In the Image Clothing Company. We do what we do here. We do so much in nature, so much under the gift of video in nature as well, showing what Utah truly is and has to offer. Poodle parade events. Bring your poodles, purebred of any size, or mixed poodles of any size, here to the state of Utah. We'll get people into nature and dogs into nature, and we just do things, right? Feeding dogs naturally, keeping dogs hydrated naturally, keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs in homes, like I said, through giving information on how to be a good owner of dogs. Interacting with our dogs as the owners, like holding leashes naturally so our bodies don't get altered. We talk about the sizing of dogs versus the size of the owners to not alter the human being's body or the dog's. We do a lot, you know. Service dogs, therapy dogs, emotional support, physical support dogs, working dogs, and all these kind of ways of, you know, the roles dogs play. This is our approach to dogs. And our information applies to just about every dog out there. But we specialize in purebred standard poodles. We advocate for pure breeds. We breed purebred standard poodles. And I'm just shouting out the brand, Pure Harmony. I'm just saying what I'm saying about it. I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. I feel so good about it, it calls out to me. Not in a weird way. I want to just make it so, like, real. That's how I feel walking down the aisle at the grocery store. Like, man, out of all the dog food brands, packaging on the shelves, you know, I know what I know. We do the same thing for the human body, allowing the body to work on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. The human body is only natural. The goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. Here we've got it saying real chicken, first ingredient. Well, this is the thing, right? On Pure Harmony's dog food here, the chicken and rice recipe. You know, the ingredients are here. I mean, I showed it to where you can probably read at least some of it here on Visual Plus Audio of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Yeah. I just, you know, there's a lot of big, you know, not that Pure Harmony is not big. I'm not, like, diminishing how, like, big Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, is. there's a lot of dog food brands out there that are so big because they're so well known, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best brand or company out there, you know? Anyway, out of all the brands, Pure Harmony just stood out to me, and it just has. I've talked about it, and I went so far as to purchasing this, 3.5 pound bag of dog food by Pure Harmony, the brand, today. To show it here and talk about them in an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, documented and date marked as we do. Okay? In our numbered episodes. I mean, it is what it is. It's staying here. That's what I'm saying. So full credit to them for just their brand. Doing what they do. That's what I'm saying, right? Because, yeah, we allow the body to work of the human beings on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. And eating is one of those big things we discuss. We talk about hydrating dog food. I mean, we already talk about so much with poodles before we ever have a single poodle of our own under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. Putting some liquid into the food so that the dogs aren't just eating this dry, dehydrated food. It's very unnatural. No matter how natural the ingredients are in the food of whatever brand is selling dry kibble, there's always water content and things until we dehydrate the food. But this is great. To dehydrate kibble, to package it, you can fit more nutrients in a lighter, smaller package. And then you just hydrate it and you feed it to your dog. Okay? Rehydrate it. It would always have water in it. I mean, chicken has water in the meat of the animal. What else is in here, Meaning, let's talk about it to kind of give some explanation here, because brown rice, there'd be water in rice. It's a plant. It grows from the earth through water. Yeah, okay. Anyway, all the things in here, if you were to just eat things from the earth naturally, there would be water content in it. So, it's great to package things by dehydrating it, and like I said, it takes up less room, it weighs less to move and carry, but we have to hydrate dehydrated things because it's an unnatural thing to happen, but that doesn't mean that it's bad necessarily. In some ways, yeah, it's not, it's not bad. In some ways it can, but it's not bad. Let's say it like that because it is what it is, it's beneficial. But so is water content, because it always is there until we do things as human beings like dehydrate anything. Human being food or food for animals or anything in life at all. So the point is, it's great. We talk about rehydrating kibble, which is what this is. Dry dog food, we'd call that kibble as human beings. Pure Harmony. The dog food brand. I feel right about it. I feel like one day I'll contact them and I'll say, hey, on episode 188 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, I talked about your guys' brand, and I had never even actually fed it to any of my dogs yet, but I really did feel good about it at the time, that you guys are doing good things and putting intentionality behind, your ingredients to your food and how you make this stuff, and the packaging, it looks nice and natural and good. I like it. I feel like it's good. It's made in USA, the United States of America, and that's local, which it's great to be local. You only are where you are. It's just good. There's a lot of good things that I feel good about and have for many, many months. Like 6+ months. Truly, walking through the dog food aisle, it's Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, has stood out to me. Truly, really, actually, truly. And the thing with a chicken is, fish as well, they're less tough meats. I'm vegetarian, and that's a lot of reason as to why is for the digestive health of the human being. Really, fibrous meat is a lot for the body to break down and digest. It takes a lot of energy for the body to digest that. Okay. Chicken's a lot less fibrous than other meats. And then fish is even less fibrous, usually, than chicken. I don't know if fibrous is really the exact word you'd use, but do you see what I mean? It takes a lot to chew, like a steak from a cow. You can chew chicken usually a lot easier, and then fish, sometimes it's very flaky. And our digestive system just needs the food that we eat to be just broken down as small as it can be to extract the most nutrients from it. That's why we're eating, is to fuel the body. Okay, so chicken and rice is the one I grabbed. It's the one that's been standing out to me, this blue looking package. Looks nice. I like it. I like the way they do this. I mean, it just looks really good. It stands out visually. And then emotionally, truly, I feel something with this brand, Pure Harmony. I'm serious. I'm serious. If it never goes anywhere, like an affiliation between them and us, then okay. Either way, I stand by what I'm saying right now. There you go. So the cart before the horse, this is the point, right? We allow the body to work with a human being. Eating, standing, walking, sitting, sleeping, breathing, hydration, all the things we do as a human being, we just discuss how to do them naturally. On all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company, as I said, that's the goal, is natural. There's only natural. There's no approach to being natural or being something else. You're only natural or you're nothing. The human body's only natural. Animals are only natural. We're only what we eat. And that's what I'm saying, is I'm shouting out Pure Harmony. I've read through the ingredient list. I have. I don't think I did it today. And by that, I mean, I know I didn't. I didn't. But I have. I've been looking at the same exact packaging for months. Truly. I just want to make it as real as it is. Because it is as real as it is. I've read through it. And you can get all nitpicky with whatever and say, well, it shouldn't have this. It should be like that. And this has been altered in this way. And what does this even mean? And, but out of all the dog food brands out there, you're really trying to find one that's perfect? Maybe start your own company selling dog food, right? If you're going to buy someone else's product, you just, kind of pick and choose and find what resonates the best. And so far, that's where I'm sitting with Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, as of today's date and up until, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's just food. Who's putting good ingredients in things and doing it well, and, And I'm saying what I'm saying about it right now. There you go, okay? Because, we eat things that are unnatural, and the body just has to digest it. And the body has to use just energy to try to digest things that we've eaten that are unnatural, and it can't extract any nutrients from it. So, I mean, they're doing what they're doing here, Pure Harmony. The dog food brand. It just is what it is, man. Anyway. Oh, man. I don't know. What do we say? I feel like I say more about it. I just feel like there's such a point to it because we're going to have big dogs, And ideally, we can work with a beautiful company that's going to, help us pay for our food, for our dogs. We're going to have a lot of dogs to feed as we breed our poodles, As time progresses, that's just what it is. And so, anyway, on here it says warning. No, it doesn't say warning there. It says weaning. Start puppies on moistened chicken and rice recipe dog food as they begin to nibble solid foods. Because the dogs, they drink milk from their mothers for the first part of life, and then they actually end up eating dog food, And so a lot of people, they call it puppy mush, and they'll put water into the dog food for the puppy's first time eating the dog food, and then they'll kind of stop doing it over time. But there would always be water in food. I mean, pretty much anything ever that we'd be eating as just a life form on this water planet, Earth, okay, would have water in it. And so this is just food that has been dehydrated to package, because that's the thing, is the expiration date is, well, it says best if used by 10/9/26. Okay, October 9th, 2026. Okay. So that's the thing. I mean, that's sweet. I mean, this can last you an entire year. So as long as I get Nita, my first purebred standard poodle, the matriarch of the In the Image Clothing Company's breeding program, and then just my own personal dog, is also what she will be, But yes, I am Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, so she'll also be, In the Image Clothing Company's dog as well. Okay, the point being, as long as I get her before October 9th, 2026, which is almost a year from now, right? It's like about 10 months from now. Then I could feed her this bag of dog food if I still have it by then. So that's what I'm saying. We dehydrate things, and that's not all bad by any means. It's good in a lot of ways. Okay. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, dog food. I've got it right here on the floor. I mean, this is about a week, give or take, of food for a dog her size, standard size poodle, you know. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. The cart before the horse. What's it about? We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. But I wanted to hit the point of Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, because I have talked about them multiple times before today's date. And today is a date before I even have a poodle of my own. Okay? Context. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, brother. All sorts of brands out there, and you can feed your dog anything you can feed your dog if it's, you know, as natural as it can be and healthy for the dog. But we advocate for, like, no treats, you know, under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. Letting dogs stay natural is what we do. You know, so just a good solid food is a good thing to have. Okay. Anyway, Pure Harmony. How much do I talk about it? I mean, I'm literally asking God. I'm truly praying through it. As you've heard me try to, like, move on to other discussion in this. And I keep, you know, talking about Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, because there you go. Okay. Good companies doing good things. I can just feel it, you know, truly. I mean, seriously. Even in the name, Pure Harmony, right? Purebred dogs, even that, you know, that's the word as we use. We advocate for purebred dogs, for the health of dogs, not the prestige. Okay. Registering purebred dogs, to have healthy dogs, to keep dogs at homes, to really do things proper under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. They've got the word pure in their name. Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. It is what it is. That's what I'm saying. I feel like, you know, they're doing good things. You wouldn't have a name like that if you weren't having the intentions to try to keep things pure. Okay? Anyway, it's cool, man. It just looks nice, too. Truly. I mean it. The packaging. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, we've got a lot of dogs that we're going to be feeding for life, okay? I'm not just asking for handouts of free food, necessarily. I mean, if you want to, Pure Harmony, right? Wink, wink. But what I'm saying is, you know, some kind of affiliation, you know, helping each other out on both ends, cool. If not, cool. I'm still saying this. It's still documented. It's still what it is. Free shout out, either way, right? To Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, on the 9th of December, 2025. So there you go. I just want to hit the point. You know, I talk about certain brands, and I just want to hit the point too that we could just shout good people out doing good things without a desire for compensation or recognition. But if it happens too, then that's also very good. You know, it's not like, you know, it's only a good thing to do if you're not expecting compensation, because you can have these like symbiotic relationships. See what I mean? We're giving them free advertisement, and they're giving us maybe some free dog food. Right? It is what it is. Well, so then it's kind of not free because we're compensating each other, but it's then free because it kind of cancels each other out, right? It is what it is. And so that's what I mean. That's why we do the things we do, the way that we do them here under In The Image Clothing Company. To help people, to help dogs, you know? Anyway. There you go. Okay, the cart before the horse. So this is the big point. Okay, we allow the human body to work under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. When we do it through clothing, really, the human body is just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space, and dogs are the same. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and the jaw, the jaw stabilizing the entire body. This is the same in both human beings and dogs. So anything that clothes either, okay, the human being or the dog, either or either, because you can either say either or you can say either. And either one of them would be working either way. Wow. Words, they only mean what they mean, but you can pronounce them differently. Wow. The truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. Let's see where it leads. Because I've got some leads that I'll be taking dogs around with, and we do a lot to really give some good free information that applies to all dogs. And so a lot of that's feeding, I'm just saying, Pure Harmony, and I'm just saying on today's date, okay, before it ever happens. There you go. The point being, anything that clothes the dogs or the human beings is clothing. For human beings, even glasses, jewelry, whatever it is. Okay, pants and shirts, collars, leashes, and harnesses for dogs. Okay, shoes for human beings, booties for dogs, whatever it is on either end of these bodies of flesh and blood, flesh and bone, just, mechanical machines placed onto the rock and space that is our Earth. Yeah, so we keep collars centered for human beings and dogs. We keep clothing centered, fitting correct, where we discuss clothing sits for everyone, and being made in all the ways that we can from 100% natural materials. Like I'm saying with feeding, right? There's only natural. Anything unnatural is only damaging to the body. Okay. Not only can it not get anything from it, but it has to process it through it. The human body or the dog, you feed a living thing something unnatural or man-made, when God made the human beings and the dogs, right? It just doesn't work. And we allow these things to work. Allowing the body to work, letting the dog stay natural, it's because God designed them. That's how we can phrase it the way we do on the back end, okay? Anyway, here's the point. Clothing, okay? Yeah. Stretch in clothing didn't exist just decades ago from today's date. But we introduced ropes to the body through shoelaces and drawstrings. We've got things like imbalances in clothing. We give a lot of free modifications for human being clothing and dog products as well, okay, to just not alter these things, the human beings or the dogs. Yeah, oversized clothing really damages the body, but, loose collars, just hanging all over the dog and pulling on its neck musculature, and, its neck is its tail tip. Same spine of the dog from the base of its skull is the same spine on the tip of its tail. Okay? There's only one way. All these things work. All these things meaning the bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles of the body of either a dog or a human being. So we let them stay natural for our lovely little companions and working fellows. Therapy, dogs, and emotionally, physically supporting dogs, whatever they're doing for us, they're doing a lot, but they play different roles. And so does everything in the body, right? There's no compensation that can be happened or had. There's no way you can have compensation be had in the body of a human being or a dog. It's all there. Everything has its own individual role to play. It's all got to work activated as a whole. You got to be fueled well with food. You got to have your body in a mechanically able to work position, residing in its neutrals. On Earth's gravity, there's a center to it. There's also a center line to the human body, a center line to the dog, musculature contracting from the outside of that center line into the center, okay, to the sternum and the spine, and the center in the front on both sides, and the center in the rear on both sides. Musculature just contracts. All the muscles only pull, and they do it by taking an endpoint where the muscle connects to the bone through a tendon, and pulling that endpoint straight to another endpoint, okay? The human body only pulls a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. It's the same thing for dogs. Okay. Two sides, though. There's opposing muscles to a function. There's only one way that bodies could ever work, of dogs or human beings. It's synonymous. It's the same for both. Really. I mean, all the things we discuss, basically everything we discuss is the exact same approach and discussion for both human beings and dogs, with allowing the body to work or letting dogs stay natural. That's truly the truth. Wow. Yes, though. Yeah, it is. So anyway, yeah, I mean, that's the point, we get into imbalances, we get into chronic patterning, and we get into this deeply ingrained scar tissue. For human beings, like I said, ropes like shoelaces or drawstrings, ribbons around dresses, apron knots, things around the hoods of our tops, whatever it is, an ascot. Shoot, I don't know, what, a scarf, anything you're tying a knot in. You're just putting one side over the other, let's say. You're rotating the body from the pelvis, from the feet, anywhere, and it travels throughout. Okay. Oversized clothing, imbalances in clothing. With the dogs, we need their collars to be centered like ours. Okay. In the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, keeping collars centered is how we word it. Tops are like a cage for the shoulders. That's what we say for human beings, just locking the shoulders in place and just nicely sitting on our shoulders. Well, for the dogs, essentially saying tops are like a cage for the shoulders of a human being. We could say collars are like I don't know how we're going to word that, but, the same thing. They need to be really snug around the dog's neck so that it's not just like pulling on the dog's neck as it's moving around. Anyway, the point is, we do these things. We'll have always in the Image Clothing Company clothing for human beings and human being. Yeah. Human beings. Man. Dog products, man. Collars, leashes, harnesses, for the dogs. Whatever else we get into, just allowing the dogs to just be dogs. Letting dogs stay natural. Do everything clothing, do everything dog products. We'll choose dogs to breed, do everything purebred standard poodles. We just want to do everything that we need to do in our lives without being restricted or altered or inhibited in ways that we can address it. But you don't know what you don't know. You can't be held accountable for what you don't know. We give a lot of free information under In the Image Clothing Company and all four sides of us. Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. Who knows where it'll lead? But I've got some promptings. By God, truly, really. And that's why I'm saying it. That's why I bought this bag of dog food. Okay? The 9th of December, 2025. Today's date. So anyway, yeah, there you go. The point is, the cart before the horse. There's this saying I've heard people say often, don't get the cart before the horse. Let's say you got a horse and it's pulling a cart, and that's why you have the horse, is to pull the cart. You've got things you need to be moved, and the horse is like the machine, and the cart's like the vessel to house the things to move. You got to have both of these things working together to have a cart being pulled by a horse. And people say, well, don't get the cart before you have the horse to pull the cart. But that doesn't really make sense. I've never quite understood that. The saying, the phrase, the whole point of this, right? The title of In the Image Clothing Company Podcast, episode 188. Don't get the cart before the horse. Well, the title's actually the cart before the horse, because I never got or understood, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to explain in this a lot of ways why it makes sense on the other end, because it doesn't make sense to not get the cart before the horse. It makes sense, though, to get the dog food before you get a dog. If you get a dog, which would be the same as saying you got a horse in the whole, quote, don't get the cart before the horse, unquote, saying, doesn't make sense. You get a dog and you don't have food for it. Now, let's say you pick up your dog from a breeder, a reputable breeder, ideally, who's breeding their dogs purebred, ideally, registering their dogs properly in all the ways that you can. I know it costs money and you have to have a license to do so, but there's a life form you're bringing onto the face of the planet through breeding two other life forms together. Okay? Done by a human being selecting two specific dogs to breed. I mean, there's a lot to this, and that's what I'm saying is, if you go pick up your dog from a breeder, okay, and you bring it home, the dog has to eat. And so really, you'd probably want to get some dog food before you bring your dog home. Or like at the exact same time, but, why not do it before if you can? That's the thing, is you can get a cart and have the cart ready, and then when you get the horse, now you've got both things. But you can't really get a horse and intend on pulling a cart with it and just say, well, I'll get the horse now and we'll just get the cart when we do. Well, once you get the horse, you've got to really take care of the horse the whole time you have the horse. And so now until you have the time or money or energy or opportunity to get a cart, you've got this horse to take care of before you can use the horse and cart together, which was the point. Okay. If you get a dog and bring it home, well, you have to feed the dog. You can't have a dog without food to feed it, but you can have food before you have a dog. You have to, in some cases, get the cart before the horse. You have to. I mean, that's what I mean is there's certain times when this is literally there's basically no other option kind of thing besides getting the cart before the horse. You know, you can get the cart and just have the cart ready. Not have to really do much of anything with it. Just store it somewhere. You've got the cart. You're good on that part of the two-part thing of the cart and horse. Now when you get the horse, you've already got the cart. You're ready to go. You get some dog food. And, you know, everything that I've said here is basically all you would need for a dog. Maybe a crate if you need a place to put the dog in times. You know, I mean, don't keep your dogs in crates just all the time. That is terrible. It's just like imprisoning them in a box. And it's not just like it, but it is literally just imprisoning them in a box. You know, I mean, keep your dogs just with you. You have a dog to have a dog for all the reasons we have dogs, and it's not to just put them in a box in the corner somewhere or in the backyard in the weather. That's even worse. You know, it is what it is. We talk about being good owners of dogs under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, and this is what I'm saying, is you can get the dog, but it has to be fed every day. So you can't get the dog without having the food. If the food's the cart and the dog's the horse, you see what I mean? In the whole cart before horse thing, right? But I can have this dog food, and like I said, when I read the date that Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, put on their product here, the chicken and rice recipe dog food, okay? Beautiful blue on the packaging. I love that blue too, seriously. It's like a nice cool blue. I don't know what they call it, but it's nice. It's funny though, I showed this blue collar and I said ideally it's pink because we'll have a lot of female dogs with a breeding program, you know, and I just resonate with female dogs better. And I like that they don't mark their territory the same way that male dogs do. That's one of the big reasons. But a lot of temperament things too, you know, as I discussed. I love female dogs. They generally do have a different temperament than male dogs. Generally. Okay, anyway, the point is, I can have this Pure Harmony dog food here, which is essentially like having a cart before my horse. And before I ever get a dog, this food has about 10 months as of today's date before it expires. Pure Harmony. Dog food. The chicken and rice dog food recipe. Anyway, the point is, yeah, that's the point. Chicken and rice recipe dog food. Pure Harmony. Real chicken. First ingredient. That's what it says. That's what it says. That's what it says. So I can have this dog food, and I'm set and ready, and I don't have to really maintain it, and I literally don't have to do anything to maintain it. It could sit here on this exact spot on the carpet for the next 10 months until I get a dog, if you will, without expiring. It'll just sit here. Isn't that a better thing than trying to figure out how to get food after you've gotten a dog that requires the food? If you have the food first, then you just get a dog and you're ready. Well, you're all ready, and then you get a dog is really what it is, if you already have the food. If you already have the cart, all you need is the horse, and you can immediately hook the cart to the horse and pull things. But if you get a horse, it's like, well, this is the thing that pulls, but there's nothing for it to pull. That's why I don't get it. I was at church today. It's not Sunday. It's actually Monday. But I was at church. You know, we just had an activity over there that I was at. Well, they had an activity that I was at. It wasn't my ward in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was another ward in our stake. Okay? Anyway, the point being, yeah, I was over at the I just heard a noise. I don't know what that was. But I was over at the church, okay, tonight. And I was thinking about this. I thought about it actually leaving the parking lot where I purchased this Pure Harmony dog food, chicken and rice recipe dog food by Pure Harmony, okay? When I was at the grocery store's parking lot, leaving to go over to the church, I was thinking about this, like, let's film an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast just talking about life and how it doesn't make any sense in most all cases to not get the cart before the horse, in, the sense of what that figuratively means, but also literally. If you were to have a horse pulling a cart, you would need the cart regardless if you had a horse or not. You can have a horse, but then there's nothing for it to pull. The point is to have the horse pull the cart. The cart's got to be there. Isn't that weird? I think it's weird. Well, I think it's weird. It's like this. It's like in the Image Clothing Company, and the way that we've structured this, God and I, truly, is who I mean by we. And then as the team comes in the Image Clothing Company, our team, they'll do things the same way. We've advertised so much before we've ever had a product to sell. The advertisement's essentially like the cart, and the products are essentially like the horse. Really. Because you can get a horse, which is like the product, but if you don't have advertisement for it, nobody's going to be able to buy the product. Nobody's going to be able to sell products very well without advertisement for them. And, advertisement in this sense is like synonymous with the word awareness for the product that you're trying to sell. And so we've got, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I mean it, many, many hundreds of videos of advertisement of who we are as in the Image Clothing Company, essentially like having just carts ready. And then when we have products to sell, they'll just sell. Like if you have a lot of carts ready and then you just get horses to pull them, you can just pull them. Do you see what I mean? How does that not make sense? It makes sense. It does. There's no dispute to that. I could just go find the breeder that we decide to get Nita from tomorrow and bring her home. I've got food for her. I've got a leash for her, a collar for her, a harness for her, food bowls, and we can use the bowls for water, hydration, right? Not just plain water in ways and times and places, maybe if and what. Right, we talk about hydration, what that really means. Water actually can just flush out all the electrolytes in your body. Hydration is a measurement of electrolytes and minerals in your body that hold the fluid in. Water is just the fluid. Your body and the bodies of the dogs as well. They can't extract anything from water. There's nothing actually in water the body takes from it. The body just uses water for functions. And then hydration is the measurement of the body being able to hold on to the amount of fluid it needs to just operate. Okay, anyway, the point is I've got bags even to clean up Nita's doggy doo-doo. Okay, I'm ready with my cart, so when I get the horse, we're just ready to go. But if I were to go get a dog, if I were to go pick up Nita, let's say I find the breeder that we're going to get Nita from, I get all of her registration papers and I make sure it's all proper so that we can have her be bred under In the Image Clothing Company's breeding program, and I bring her home, let's say tomorrow, and let's say hypothetically I didn't have anything for her. I didn't have any food to feed her. Well, that doesn't really make any sense. I didn't have a bowl to put any food in, even if I did have food to feed her, or a bowl to put things for her to drink in so she can stay hydrated. I didn't have any way to restrain her, like a leash or a harness or a collar, let's say. Well, what am I doing? I got the dog, which seems to be the main thing, but I don't have the stuff she needs. You can get a horse, but if you don't have a cart for the horse to pull, wasn't that the reason you were getting a horse? If the whole intention behind this whole phrasing of don't get the cart before the horse is, you're going to have a horse pulling a cart, well, why not get the cart? Why not be ready? Because it can only happen on one end. The cart's what you get to get ready for the horse. the dog products and, like things that we'll sell under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, these are things that we get to get ready for the dog. You kind of have to. I mean, it's like you do have to. Unless you do it at the exact same time or just about the exact same time, like it would have to be the same day. Your dog can't just go a day without eating. Not really. I mean, maybe in an extreme case, if it ended up happening, your dog would be fine going one day without eating. But you're not gonna just have that be the case. You're not just gonna go buy a dog and be like, we'll get her food sometime. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That doesn't work right, properly, well. It doesn't, right? You get the stuff first for the thing the stuff is for. You get the cart for the horse. You get the dog products for the dog. This phrase doesn't make any sense. People, what they're saying is essentially don't get ahead of yourself. It's like, you don't have a horse yet. You don't need a cart. Well, yeah, I do, because the reason I'm getting a horse is for pulling the cart. Okay? People will say, you don't need dog products. You don't even have a dog yet. Well, I need products to be able to have a dog. This phrase makes no sense. I've had my dad. I'm not trying to even talk about my dad, but I just want to make it clear, I know a lot of people have experiences like this. People in their life who are supposedly teaching them things. My dad, for example, used to say this to me, this phrase, don't get the cart before the horse. Really, anyway, no matter who's saying it to who, that's just one of the experiences of one human being in my life who has said it to me many times. My dad sure said a lot of things to me that I could have gone without hearing. There you go. Okay, just as it is. We just discuss things as they are here under In the Image Clothing Company. It is what it is, and that's what I mean is it's a misleading point. That's why I'm saying that my dad told me that, and kind of making a point of it, is it doesn't make sense. And my dad or dads in general, a father figure is somebody who's supposed to be teaching you how to live life well to the best of how they know how to. Anyway, no matter who it is, though, it doesn't make sense to tell somebody not to get the cart before the horse. You have to. In certain situations, it's almost like there's no other option. It's just the best way to do it, universally. It's just weird. That's almost all we have to even say about that in this. And I don't know, we'll talk about more and we'll say what we say. And this will be as long as it is. Sometimes these are very long episodes. And it just is what it is. It's just weird, is what I'm saying. What I mean is, that's as simple as the explanation is you can't have a dog and not feed it. It'll die. You can't have a horse without a cart if your objective is to pull things in a cart and have the horse be the thing pulling it. It doesn't make any sense. People say it, right? Don't get ahead of yourself. That's the point. Don't get ahead of yourself in life. It's like, if you don't even have a dog, you don't need food for it. Well, yeah, but then you can never get a dog if you never got food for it. You get food and you can get the dog anytime when you're ready. In the gospel of Jesus Christ, this is the whole thing. Being a disciple of Jesus Christ, I said this as I was getting into the car, leaving the grocery store, after I had just bought this package of Pure Harmony dog food for a dog I don't own yet, okay? This is what I mean. I was leaving the grocery store, stepping into the vehicle that I was going to then drive over to the church for tonight's activity that I was at, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And what I was saying is, stepping into the car, as real as it is, right? Being a disciple of Jesus Christ, or a follower of God, the eternal, the almighty, the creator of us, yeah, there you go, and all things, right? Heaven and earth, and all things that in them are, all things that are in them. The dogs also, and, there you go, Pure Harmony, the dog food brand, and all their employees. Let me just speak for some people, because I can, it's true. God created everything. And being a disciple of Jesus Christ, or a disciple of God, a follower of God, is, in all senses of the word, truly the phrase, getting the cart before the horse. If we're talking about heaven, right, after we die, we go to heaven. If we're talking about heaven as being the horse, and the cart is like what the horse is pulling, right? We're being led by a heavenly life in a sense. God is a heavenly being, and so he's essentially like the horse pulling us in a cart. Wow, metaphorical. This is a parable that I have come up with in a sense, right? Praying to God, getting into the car, coming out of the grocery store. Earlier today, after purchasing a bag of dog food from the brand Pure Harmony for a dog I don't have yet. Faith in God is a cart before the horse of heaven. We live in this state of a cart. If faith in God or faith in heaven, faith in life after this one, if that's the horse, right, is the life after this one, or the heaven that we go to, or dwelling with God in an eternal, perfected, exalted state of being, resurrected forever, living a godly existence, that's after we die. And so in this life, we have this cart of faith. And the only way you can get to a godly heaven is by having your cart of faith in this life. We live as disciples of Jesus Christ, the metaphor in this way, getting the cart before the horse. We have to. It's a must. You're not going to get the horse of heaven, if you will, in the metaphor, right? Unless you first have the cart of faith in this life. I mean, God pulls us through life. He carries us through life the way that a horse pulls or carries a cart. But if we're not here with our faith, like if we didn't have a cart for the horse, we couldn't be pulled. If we didn't have food to feed the dogs, we couldn't have a dog. The dog would die. If we didn't have advertisement for our products and our events, poodle parade events, right? Bring your poodles, purebred of any size, mixed poodles of any size, to the state of Utah, getting people into nature, dogs into nature, right? We do it as we do. Well, if we didn't advertise for these things, and that's essentially our cart, then the horse of these things happening, right? The products being sold, the events happening, a following just being there of In the Image Clothing Companies, right? It just wouldn't happen properly. It wouldn't happen all that well. It can happen, but not really. I mean, even, just a few minutes before I started filming this, I was praying to God. I was discussing, like this, it can't really happen. If you don't lay a proper foundation, the rest doesn't really work well. You can't really make up for things you haven't done in the past. Now, God is almighty. And God makes up for everything if he needs it to be made up for. God will take our, quote, lost time, unquote, and give it back to us doubled. And he does, and that's true. God is outside of time. God is outside of resources in the ways that we know of them as human beings, like food, and time in itself is a resource, and these things that we have and experience as human beings, and, we live in scarcity or lack or limited quantities of things because there's only a certain amount of resources in this physical existence as a human being. But God is outside of all of this. He created all of this. Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. Shout out to them. What I'm saying is, it's not a weird thing to get food before you have a dog to feed, because you've got a dog that you now need to feed. And if you already have the food, that's actually going to work the best. There's no opinion to that. That's what I'm saying. There's no opinion on the end of it's better in most all cases to actually get what would metaphorically be the cart before the horse. It just doesn't make sense on the other end in almost every case. There's certain times when it would actually make sense to not get the cart before the horse, metaphorically, and what that could mean, but times and places. But we say that phrase with so many things There's times and places for things that there otherwise, wouldn't be, that you otherwise shouldn't do. Sometimes is actually the best thing to do, when in almost every other case, you should basically never do it. I mean, in almost every case, you should never bring a dog home, whether it's a puppy or it's a rescued dog or a rehomed dog or whatever it is. Ideally, dogs stay at their homes for life, right? That's the one thing we advocate for under the Image Clothing Company Poodles. But no matter how you're bringing a dog home, do it as properly as you can. And we give a lot of information on how to do that and what that means and why. And why it doesn't happen also, and how to prevent it. Okay, under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, that's a lot of what we discuss. But, yeah, I mean, that's really what it means to let dogs stay natural. Naturally, dogs stay in family environments in the ways that they do for life. In the ways that they do is the point. They're not going to be, outside of their own decisions being pulled from their families the way that we take dogs into animal shelters or rehome dogs against their will, So what I'm saying, I'm going to stand this bag back up. It wasn't a disrespectful thing when I just hit it a minute or two ago there. Pure Harmony dog food. Before I have a dog to feed the food to. But anyway, this is what I'm saying, yeah, I mean, it would almost be entirely terrible in almost every case to get a dog without having food all ready to feed it. And that's the thing, a lot of breeders, they'll give you a bag of dog food, similar to this one, right? This is a 3.5 pound bag of dog food. For those of you in audio only, there you go. First of all, you can hear the bag crunching. Okay. But this is a 3.5 pound dog of Pure Harmony branded dog food. Shout out to them. But this is what I'm saying is it fits in both of my hands almost, right? Just it's relatively small-ish. Like I'm saying, give or take about a week of food for a standard sized dog. Give or take. Give or take. Okay, but yeah, and that's the other thing is so many times dogs are eating so much more than they need to because their bodies are overworked by imbalanced or heavy collars on them, or just really loose, dangly collars on them. All the things we talk about, unnaturally flat, slippery flooring, overworking their joints, food that's not hydrated, dehydrated kibble that hasn't been rehydrated, and it just is more work for the body to digest. Something so dry. The natural amount of water content in the dog has to kind of be lessened, and the water that's just naturally in the dog's body has to go into the digestive system to soften and moisten the food to even pass it through without it getting stuck in the digestive system of the dog. This is the same for human beings with anything dehydrated, by the way, unnaturally dry. It's unnatural, but it's not a bad thing to dehydrate food as long as we rehydrate it before we eat it. Okay, storage reasons, it's beneficial in many ways. Like I'm saying, 10 months from today's date, well, about a year is the point. Because on the back here, it said, something like packaged on, and then a certain date, and it was October 9th this year. So they just go a year as of this package here. Pure Harmony has put 1 year as the shelf life because it's dehydrated. There's not water in there to mold and to rot. But the dog's digestive system, that's what I'm saying is a lot of times dogs and human beings are just eating way more than we need because our bodies aren't working properly. And there's many reasons as to that being something that comes up. As to why that ends up being something that happens, there's a lot of reasons to why that's what it is in modern day. There's a lot of reasons that go into that. I could say it in all sorts of different ways. That's what I'm saying is there's a lot going on in modern day. It's a modern man-made world. There's no such thing as dehydrated food in nature. Unless you just got a dead carcass of an animal just out in the heat of the sun baking all the water out of it. Sure. But do you see what I mean? That's really what's happening, essentially. It's just all the water is getting extracted from the nutrients in what we call food. So anyway, why I started saying that right then, specifically, was because I was saying we rehydrate food. And so, a lot of people might think that this is not a full week of dog food, And it depends on the dog itself, the size of the dog, how much physical activity the dog's getting, but there's a lot more that goes into it than that. But once you rehydrate this food, it goes, you have to. That's the point. You have to. There's no opinion to it being an unnatural thing for food being dehydrated. It's a process that human beings have done to food. It's unnatural. Anything human beings do is basically anything is unnatural that we do like that. There's only natural. That's the truth, right? There's only natural. Everything was there before human beings were. And then human beings take everything that was there and do what they do to it to process it and put it in this package. The package wasn't there till human beings were. This is man-made. That's what I'm saying. No opinion to this. That's what I'm saying. In the Image Clothing Company, we speak on universal truth. We do it imperfectly because we're imperfect human beings. But that's what I'm saying. No joke. Do you see what I mean? This is the truth of all things. Meaning, this being the gospel of Jesus Christ. Not just because I'm speaking words. I can't claim something's true and decide anything's true. That's not how that works. Truth is apart from all of us. But what we are all a part of is the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Anyway, Pure Harmony, the dog food. This could be a week of food for your specific dog, even if you've been feeding your dog like this amount of food and it, lasts like 3 days for you. Currently, in the way your dog's body is working, it's maybe not being allowed to through a lot of the reasons that, we just live in a modern man-made world. We discuss a lot of that under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles and how to let your dog stay natural. But then also with the hydration of the food, that's a big thing as well. Just rehydrating dehydrated things. So there you go. A lot of times we're just overfeeding ourselves, our family, other human beings in our lives, our pets, not only dogs, but any animals. Like I say, letting dogs stay natural under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, that information applies to most all animals on the entire planet. Truly, okay? Pretty much every animal. Seriously. Some of our information at least will apply to under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, letting dogs stay natural. So that's what I'm saying, right? Is you have to have food or you can't have a dog. But you can have food without having a dog. You can't have a horse to have it pull a cart without having a cart for the horse to pull. But you can get a cart and never have a horse. It truly is only on one end. And it's on the end that ironically people say not to have. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because that's what they mean is don't get ahead of yourself. It's like, well, if you don't even know you're going to get a dog, don't get all prepared for one. Well, then how will I ever be prepared for a dog to get, right? It doesn't make sense. Don't get a cart before you get a horse to pull it. Well, if the reason I'm getting a horse is to pull the cart, well, I can't have a horse pull a cart unless I have a cart. It's in the literal wording. It's in the way we say it. You have to get the cart before the horse in most all cases. Sometimes, like I'm saying, certainly sometimes it would be the other way around. But most all cases, you have to prepare for things before they happen. But then it's interesting too, so many things happen in our lives that we didn't prepare for and God just makes it happen. But we prepare in the sense of having faith or in the avenue of faith. That's our preparation for gifts being given to us by God. Isn't that interesting? Faith is the cart. The blessings God gives us after having faith are the horse, And one of those blessings is a resurrected being and eternal life after we die in an exalted state of exaltation. There you go. Living permanently, eternally with God. Resurrected through the power of Jesus Christ, God himself in the flesh after we die. So this is what I mean. That's the point, right? We have to, in a lot of cases, get the cart before the horse. You have to. I mean, how else are you going to do it? How else are you going to have your dog be, having its doo-doo get picked up off the ground if you don't have a way to pick your dog's doo-doo up off the ground before your dog doo-doo's on the ground? Now you'll be like scrambling after the fact. Do you see what I mean? Your dog goes potty and you're like, oh shoot, now how am I going to clean this up? I got the dog and no bags to clean it up with. You got a horse and you're like, I'm ready to pull a cart. Oh, I don't have a cart to pull. See what I mean? How could it even possibly be right to tell somebody to not get the cart before the horse? I mean, we expect blessings from God. I mean, we don't just expect God to give us stuff. That's not why we serve God. But, I don't know. I mean, if you're expecting to get a dog, that's what I mean. You get ready. You prepare. And then you get the dog after you've gotten your preparations for the dog. It's just everything in life. That's what I mean. In the Image Clothing Company, as a company or a community that we are, right? In this for life is how I am, Evan Strong. Episode 185 is titled In This for Life, okay? Of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. That's the case. So that's what I'm saying is, we've got all of these documentations before we've ever really done much as a company. I've done so much preparing my cart so that my horse can just pull it. See what I mean? That's just the only way it's going to really work. That's what I was saying earlier, God can do anything, but really in like the ways that things work out of our human being understanding of it, getting ourselves, where we need to be. We have to do all that we can first. And if you don't build a good foundation, you can't really catch up later. You can't. I can't. God can if he needs it to happen. But what he likes us to do is do things properly, intentionally. God's house is a house of order. God is a God of order. He does things proper. And so that's the whole phrase, and I said it in this. You don't know what you don't know. You can't be held accountable for what you don't know. We discuss this often because that's a big point. Is if you don't know what you need to do to prepare, and you just kind of like end up finding this awesome dog that's a great match for you, get the dog and then just get everything as quick as you can for the dog. Sure, that's what I mean, times and places. But in all the ways that you can, if you're expecting something to happen, do what you need to lead up to it in all the ways that you can. We can only do what we can do, but that's what I mean. We got to do all that we can do to do all that we can do. I say that often, where I do, because that's the point. And then we're ready. I mean, we'll be ready. One of these past few episodes here of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, in the 180s in number, it's titled Set Up for Success. And that's what I mean, is I've got my cart ready under In the Image Clothing Company as the founder, so that when that horse comes, this cart can be pulled, right? When our products come, when the team comes, when we start selling things, when we start really doing in-person events, all these things, when our building is ready to be built, we've done the things beforehand to prepare. And we're ready. We are and were at that time that I made that episode, right? Quote, set up for success, unquote, as in the Image Clothing Company and for life, truly. I mean, we're ready for all that we are and all that we will be going forth. And me, personally, at least for one dog, I'm set up for Nita. She'll be my first. She'll be in the Image Clothing Company Poodle's first. And now I've got the first, give or take, week of food for her. And all the other things that I discussed and that I've, talked about where I have. I've got my cart ready. So when the horse comes, I can just pull it. Does that not make sense? I'm not asking because it does. That's what I mean. How does that not make sense is what I could ask. I'm not asking for an answer because I'm just discussing it in a way where it's undisputed. That's what I mean. You have to get the cart before the horse. But this is the thing, God tells us to, like I said, expect miracles. Not just expect things to be given to us necessarily, but just expect God to be God, the Almighty that He is, right? And if we're sitting around like, yeah, well, I'm just not going to do anything until I get the thing from God. No, God wants us to put forth effort. God loves effort. He loves us to work in all the ways we know how to toward what we know He wants for us or will give to us before He does. That's how God works. I'm not trying to tell you out of my own doings, but this is in Scripture, right? Written documentations of God, Jesus the Christ Himself. He works how He works. We discuss Jesus Christ as He says that He is. And God is only who He is. He's an unchangeable being, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And we have His written word. Quote, read the word of God, unquote, is an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We do things to prepare, though, for what we know God has told us He will give us, so that we're ready to receive what He will give us in His timing. It's always about His timing. That's what I mean. I can sit here and I can say whatever, and people might be like, well, why don't you just go buy Nita today then? Why are you waiting? Do you not have enough money for it? And the answer is, at this moment right now, no, not really, right? Do you not live in a place where you can even have a dog? Then why are you even wanting to do it if you're not doing what you need to go live somewhere where you can even house her? Because it's not my timing. And that's what I mean. A lot of this is testimonies to God. When I'm shouting people out, and I'm not trying to guarantee anything out of me, but if I'm saying that, like, potentially we work with a brand someday down the road, or a company, or an organization, or whatever it is, and I'm talking about them before it happens, it's a testimony to God. That's what I mean. Because I don't know how it would happen. But if it happens, I didn't do it. Not really. I just brought my cart, and God is essentially the horse that pulls it. Do you see what I mean? You have to get the cart before the horse in a lot of cases. That's the only way it'll work in a lot of cases. Truly. No opinion. There's no other way around it in certain ways. There isn't. There's not. There just isn't. I mean, not really. Do you see what I mean? In the ways that we're really understanding what this phrase is trying to say. And that's all I'm doing here, is really just giving a good understanding of life, of how we have to prepare for certain things before the actual thing comes. The actual thing is the dog. But actually, you can't have a dog unless you feed it. It will die in, a few days. Sure, get a dog. But if you don't have food to feed it, you don't have a dog anymore, right after you have one. If you've got this idea to have a horse pulling a cart, get a horse. But until you get a cart, the whole point of getting the horse can't even happen. Right? Don't agree with me, don't believe me, don't think I'm trying to make some kind of thing. I don't care. I mean, I'm just discussing it as it is because it's kind of weird. It's dumbfounding. People give this as advice. That's what I say. We don't need advice. We need truth in life. We need personal experience. And we've got a lot of people's experiences that we can look to of them doing things before they happen. So when they happen, they're ready, if that makes sense. And I'm one of those people. Let's get real with it. I'm one of those people. Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. That's the point. I'm sitting here on the floor, on the carpet in this house, just yelling at a device here, documenting episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, talking about a lot of things before they happen because I'm bringing my cart before I get the horse, because that's how it will work the best in this case. That's what I mean, bro. Anyway, yeah. The cart before the horse. Anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, because if I go purchase a dog, I mean, how do I even get her home safe as a puppy, right? I bring her home and open the car door, and she accidentally, jumps onto the ground when I was maybe going to like carry her into the house or something, and she runs into the street because she wasn't on a lead. I didn't have a slip lead or a leash and a harness or a leash and a collar or whatever it is, which would essentially be the cart, and the dog would be the horse. If I didn't get my cart, in a sense, which could be the leash, slip lead, collar, harness, whatever like this, right? Then sure, I can get my puppy and bring her home, but I might not even be able to get her safely from the car into the house without her running into the street and potentially getting run over by a car. And these things happen. Dogs get run over by cars all the time. Again, another thing we advocate for, just being a good owner of dogs, how to really keep your dog restrained healthily, properly, safely for the dog and you. Good manners too when you just approach somebody with a dog. I mean, that's a big, 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 big point on when we advocate for being good owners of dogs as in the Image Clothing Company poodles. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it where we do and deeply, okay? But this is what I mean. You'd have to have a leash, a lead of some kind, a restraint of some kind before you get a dog. How could you not? Well, you can use anything, really. I mean, you can just use a rope. That's what a slip lead is. It's just a rope. And we actually love slip leads under in the Image Clothing Company poodles. We, debunk a lot of myths, and slip leads are not dangerous if used properly, okay? But anyway, it just is what it is. So that's the point. The cart before the horse kind of has to happen. In a lot of ways, it just kind of has to happen. Okay. So there you go. I keep looking over here at Little Red the guitar. I don't know if I need to play something here or what. I'll at least talk about In the Image Clothing Company music, the last fourth to mention in this episode that I just haven't yet. We do a lot of showing the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter the body, okay? Keeping that neutral wrist and the natural rounding in our hands. We talk about the same thing we just discussed in daily life, fingernails and toenails all the way to the tips of the fingers and toes, fully backing and supporting them, cut relatively flat on the tip. So we stay in this neutral wrist position, okay? The body's just about its neutrals in the rotations, internal and external rotation, in the forearms, the entire arms, the lower legs, the entire legs. There's just a neutral to all the body's functioning because there are opposing muscles, right? Anyway, lyricism, rhythm and poetry, okay, spoken word, music, guitar playing, these things get it just happens. We do a lot with music under In the Image Clothing Company music. There you go. And so there you go, okay? But this is cool. I didn't have these two things until today. You can use a bag of any kind. You can use your bare hand if you really want to clean up your dog's bowel movement. That's fine. Wash your hands. I'm just saying, right? Yeah, sure. I mean, if you didn't have anything else, then yeah, great. Use what you use. But it is convenient to have these bags. And ideally, they're environmentally friendly bags. These ones aren't, but it's about being intentional. And that's even a good point, too. Like I said, even if I don't actually keep this bag of food and I return it because other than maybe if I smash some of the food up inside, and I'm sorry, if I did return it, it's sealed, it's unopened. A lot of it's just about the principle of showing it and showing that you kind of have to have the cart before the horse in the metaphorical way. Same with these bags, though. These I'll keep regardless because they'll just be good to have. And I'm pretty well certain I'm going to keep the dog food, too. But I'm just saying I could return it. I don't know. Do you see what I mean? I'm just saying I don't know how to even fully explain that. I got the point across, but it just is what it is. That's what I mean. But anyway, this point that I'm making here with the bags is just the intentionality. Ideally, everything we do is natural. And so, environmentally friendly, if you will, bags, not just plastic or poly bags, right? Clothing that's unnatural, like polyester, right? Polyurethane is often just like these plastic bags. Polypropylene, I don't know, there's polys. Poly is just like a plastic blend. It's just oil. And so bags like this, like cellophane, saran wrap. I mean, this type of material, it's oil, okay? And it doesn't really decompose all that well at all. So ideally, we have bags that can decompose well because the dog's doo-doo, if you will, okay, decomposes really well. I mean, it's actually healthy for the planet. It's fertilizer for plants, truly. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. All this food just passes through the dog, and yeah, a lot of it gets utilized by the dog. Some of it doesn't. There's only a certain level of bioavailability that the animals can, I mean, I know what I'm talking about. Don't believe me, but that's why I discuss things so thoroughly, man. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company is what I mean. And all four sides. That's why there's four sides to us. I know what I'm saying on these four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. I don't know. I know that we have a different approach than other people. And it works. That's the whole point. There's only a certain level of what they call bioavailability. Each animal, but then, man, yeah, human beings as well. But the point is, it's not only what it is. That's what I mean. We need to know what we need to know. Look at me get so worked up because this is the truth. This is what I mean. This is why we're here. We deliver truth. Don't believe it. But you can actually amp up, if you will, the bioavailability. If that's really the word, I think that is. The point is, the human body or any body of animal as well, or plant or anything, can only extract a certain amount of nutrients from what they eat depending on how they eat it, how well their digestive system works. We talk about eating. The natural bite size is a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, the importance of the corners of the mouth. We eating and drinking with the left hand, just meaning non-dominant. We talk about eating naturally, and we do it in a lot of ways, okay? For human beings, under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, just wherever we do on any of the four sides when it comes to human beings. When we're talking about In the Image Clothing Company, we do have four sides. Okay, Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. Shout out to you guys. What I'm saying is that, that's kind of the basis of this episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, is shouting out Pure Harmony's dog food. The brand Pure Harmony. And the fact that I purchased this, whether I return it or not, I purchased it and brought it here to my house for the intentionality, for the principle of showing it, of discussing this as I am here, because I really, really do feel good about the brand. Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, with 1/4 of us being In the Image Clothing Company poodles. And I'd love to work with the brand, Pure Harmony, one day, okay, for dog food. I'd love to. But here's the big thing, okay, In the Image Clothing Company poodles and Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. One day, maybe if. If not, still, this is all great to say. Good information here. What I'm saying is if we're eating properly, we talk about, for human beings especially, specifically, and however much this transfers over to dogs, we'll talk about more as time progresses, but we talk about eating and how saliva in the mouth is the first form of digestion for food or liquid of whatever kind that we're drinking as well. Okay? It breaks down carbohydrates and fats before the food or liquid of whatever we're drinking gets down to our digestive system and our abdomen. There's only one way the human body actually works. This is what I mean. Even in the digestive system, we talk about the mechanical motion and, moving across the earth, as a human being, and for the dogs, most out of what we discuss. But eating is a huge thing we discuss, okay? And so if you really chew your food thoroughly, you really let your saliva fully mix with the food you eat, then you can actually extract more nutrients from the food. You can get more energy from the food. The food can essentially last longer or go farther, okay, if you eat it as properly as you can. If you rehydrate dog food after it's been dehydrated, which is an unnatural process that's not all that bad and even good in many cases, but we have to rehydrate it. Water's been unnaturally extracted from it. We just have to put it back in. That's just the truth, okay? Pure Harmony, the dog food brand. Shout out to you guys. Freely. There you go. Freely. Always giving freely. Always Given Freely is an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. There you go. I talked about how God always gives freely grace and love and all the things that he gives us. Forgiveness from our sins before we even make them. And also what I talked about in that episode was In the Image Clothing Company will always give things for free. free modifications in clothing, dog products as well, right? Clothing, in a sense, for dogs. Just information and shouting people out for free, even if we never have them do anything for us on the other end. Okay, it's just how we are. It's just how we roll. It's just what we do. But also, certain brands and companies and organizations, it'll be great to have us doing things for them and them doing things for us on both ends, because we can help each other out that way. But what I am saying is, earlier when I was saying, give or take for, a package of food lasting about a week, this size, about a 3.5 pound bag of dry kibble, dehydrated dog food that we need to rehydrate. Okay, if we rehydrate it and feed the dogs properly and don't flood the dogs' stomachs, like we talk about the importance of not flooding the stomach, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, there's only the level and amount of digestive acidic juices that break down food in the digestive system that there are in the body of either a dog or a human being. And if we drink too much just like plain water, we're diluting the fluid, meaning making it less powerful, the acidity of the digestive juices. For lack of a better word, that's not a bad word to use, but quote, juices, unquote, right? The digestive fluid, the stomach acid, if you will, things like this in the body, they have to work how they have to work. They have to be as potent, if you will, as they just naturally would be, by not having an excessive amount of water in there, meaning in the digestive system of either the human being or the dog, or any animal. That's what I mean, applying to any animal in the ways that it does, letting dogs stay natural information, even allowing the body to work information under either In The Image Clothing Company poodles or the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. I mean, a lot of this stuff applies to just more things than what we, specialize in. We're specializing in human beings, and we're specializing in purebred standard poodles. But our information works for other things as well, where it does, right? So there you go. Take it with a grain of salt and go salt the earth with God's flavor of truth, if you will. That's what it says in Scripture. This is the gospel of Jesus Christ, because God designed these things, like the digestive systems of the bodies of flesh and blood and bone, and so there's only one way they could ever actually work. Man, so get your carts before your horses. And prove the world wrong, because God came and overcame the world. The world will tell you all sorts of crazy things, but God is the God of backward, the God of paradoxes. God is the God of getting your cart so you're ready for your horse to pull it. All right? It's just about faith. It's all just about faith. Yeah, I've got to move. And I've got to move to St. George, Utah, specifically. I mean, that's where we're setting up base camp for life, brother. And I don't know how that's going to happen or when exactly, as of me saying it right now, on the 9th of December, 2025. But, I'll get Nita. And when I do, all I have to do is bring her home. I've got food to feed her. I've got water for her. Just, where I can get access to water. And again, hydration. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it as time progresses, how to really hydrate dogs. We'll talk about that properly, Yeah, okay. But yeah, I've got a leash. I've got a collar. I've got a harness. I've got things to pick up her doggy doo-doo. Maybe I could use a crate. There's nothing else that I would actually need. There's all sorts of things you could get for a dog. But all sorts of things won't necessarily improve the life of your dog or the health of your dog. Minimal, simplistic. These are the things we are as In The Image Clothing Company, and it's been that way. It always will be, since the founding. That's what we've done, because that's how it works the best. Naturally, there's only the amount of resources you just have access to, but now we have an unnatural abundance of artificial things in modern day. Going forth, it's only going to get worse in the ways that it does. Okay, as new things are invented and added to life. Taking it back to basics. It's on the back end of things, you know. Man. Oh, I don't know if you heard it. That was my jaw popping. Really what it is the cartilage in the ears. Man. Getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue. That's what we do on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. And this is me, Evan Strong, a little over 14 months into founding In The Image Clothing Company, still getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue. And you can see documented under the gift of video, date marked. Okay. My body, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, visually and physically transforming, truly, just back to natural. Right after I was just saying it's on the back end, my ear cartilage just like had a release. The ears are just the hole between the rear of the lower jawbone, called the mandible, and the base of the rear of the skull back there. And really, it's those sternocleidomastoid muscle insertions up there at the mastoid of the head. We've got a lot of things we place in the ears nowadays that are altering the entire body when the jaw is stabilizing the entire body, and the ears are essentially the jaw. We alter the cartilage in our ears and the shape of our ear structure and the positioning of our jaw, and our entire body gets altered, and we get into patternings that last months, years, decades, lifetimes. So that's really what we give information on under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We come at it through clothing. Sticking things into your ears is clothing your ears with things. Even just positions the rest of the body is in can alter the ears, though, even if we never placed anything into our ears directly, okay? Even stuff down at the feet, shoelaces, drawstrings, things in the hands, the hand positioning, the shoulder positioning, the pelvis positioning, the ways we eat, imbalances in our jaw and the musculature up the sides of the head, that is the jaw musculature, the importance of even jaw musculature is a video on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. It's as real as it gets. This is my first time wearing this shirt. I bought it today used at the Deseret Industries thrift store. Shout out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Shout out to getting your carts before your horses. It is what it is, man. There's only truth to life. I couldn't ever decide it. But I know God, and that's what I'm doing, is sharing with everybody who God says that He is. All right? As the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. In the Image, we're actually In The Image Clothing Company. But just as a disciple of Jesus Christ, personally, me, Evan Strong, I mean, that's what I'm here to do on this earth, is just to share where we have come from, why we are here, and where we are going. These questions we just ask as human beings. And so I think that's the thing, don't get your cart before your horse. People just, say, don't rush into things. Don't think you know what's going on before you do. Don't get ahead of yourself. But it's not getting ahead of yourself to prepare for something that you know is to come. You have to prepare if that thing is to come properly. It just is what it is, So, man, beautiful release there in the essentially jaw, but really it's the ear. It's that TMJ. I don't know, the tubular mandibular joint. I don't know what the first two words are, the T and the M. I just don't know how to pronounce them exactly. I just don't really know exactly what they are as of right now. I've read it before, and I've heard it before. I've said it before. But there's that joint where the jaw, the lower jawbone hinges right here, right in front of the ears. Yeah, and anyway, that essentially just is the ear location. So a lot of what people think is that TMJ pain, that joint of the jaw meeting the skull, the lower jawbone, the mandible coming up and meeting the skull, and then it's just hinging there. We talk about that a lot, how looking down opposes bad posture is a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, and there's context with it, okay? But that's how we actually get our spine vertical, is by tilting our head down, not looking with our eyes down, because tilting our head down, then we look up with our eyes, actually. Okay, anyway, a lot of context where we give it under In The Image Clothing Company. We just discuss the truth. Oh my gosh. And that's the big thing with the natural bite size as well, is that's the only way you can have what people call, quote, good posture, unquote, is to keep your spine vertical. You have to only open your jaw the width that your jaw can open before the rear of the lower jawbone here hits the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and then your head has to come forward, which is actually your head tilting up and twist, not twisting, but excessively curving your entire spine. The base of the skull is the top of the spine. The top of the pelvis is the lower part of the spine, the lowest part of the bottom. Just like I said about the dog's spine earlier. The base of the dog's skull is the top of its spine. The tip of its tail is the, what you could say, bottom of the spine. But dogs are horizontal on Earth's gravity, and human beings are vertical on Earth's gravity. I know what I'm talking about, okay? I say that just because you want to check out what we do under In The Image Clothing Company. You don't have to care, but we discuss things that are affecting you whether you care or not. And we give the truth about it, and we give so much free information about it. We give free, true, permanent, no opinion and don't believe me, but actual fixes for these things. Truly, I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is, and what it is, you know, over 14 months at this point into so much documentation of this free public information. It's no claim. You can go see it for yourself. You know, my words are lining up with things that I've already done. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm out here preaching what I have practiced, as I say. It just is what it is. You got to get the cart before the horse a lot of the time. It's the only way it's going to really work. Okay. So, yeah. Man, that release though in those ears, essentially, in the jaw, kind of, in that TMJ, essentially, right? People say TMJ joint, and you know that's okay to say, but it's redundant. The J is joint. It's the TM joint. Okay. There's just a little bit of like explanation on how to say that correct. Not that it, you know, you have to be so perfect with your speech, you know. I mean, ideally, we speak as well as we can, so we just know what we're saying, but anyway. It is what it is, dude. Talk about it. Okay, I will, right? That's why we do this. That's why the videos are long. We give context. That's what I say. If you've got a problem with us, stick around. Deeper context brings deeper understandings. We are a clothing company, but kind of not. We're certainly a clothing company. You know, I say it like that kind of on both ends, but just making it a point like, yes, we are. Definitely a clothing company, but really the only reason truly is for the body of the human beings and the body of the dogs, for the life and the health of human beings and dogs. Okay, man, you're able to see it, man. That's such a gift that God has given me personally. You're able to see my body just transform through these documentations. I mean, I couldn't claim anything. You can see it. I mean, I have to be doing something that works. You know, if you don't believe it's clothing, that's fine. I don't believe in anything, but truth is truth. Try it. It works. You got to get your carts before your horses, though. Sometimes. I'm going to bring home Nita, man. I'll bring Nita home as a puppy. The first day I bring her home, I'll have all these things that I already have for her. And she's just home. She's just ready. I'm ready for her. I've got my carts so I can get my horse. Got my products for my dog so I can get my dog. And I can give her the best life that I can give her and continually learn how to do that better. She'll help me be a good father. And not only Nita, that's the point. Like I say, Nita will die. And I address that before I even ever get her as a puppy. Because I know, yeah, we'll have a lot of poodles. Her posterity and whatever poodles we bring in as well from other families, right? You know, doing a lot of good to further good bloodlines of dogs under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. You know, we'll bring dogs in from other dog families, if you will, other bloodlines. Yeah, but what I'm saying is any dog, okay, but Nita will be the first. And all these dogs, and just her, she'll be the one starting it. You know, they'll teach me how to be a good father. And even if that's just a father figure to human beings in my life or anything in my life that I could be fathering, okay? She'll teach me so much. It's just so crazy, bro. But you got to get your carts before your horse. You got to prepare before it happens. And I've just prepared so much for this beautiful, beautiful girl, Nita. There's so much documentation of Nita out of explanation before she's even born. Unless I really do get her within the next, like, few weeks or something, and she's already born as of me saying this right now, let's say. That could totally happen. I don't know. I don't know timings. It's out of my hands, and that's something people don't quite understand a lot of the time. I get it, but that is the truth. If I'm going to do it proper, I'm doing it obedient to God's will as well as I can. Being a sinful, disobedient, in a lot of ways, human being, I mean, that's my highest priority in life, is to be obedient to God. And that opposes what the world says and shows and preaches and wants and asks from you, and what it might seem like you'd have to do to just live a good life. But truly, the best life you'll live is by serving Jesus Christ, God himself, and really that is almost in every sense opposing what worldly things would be or how worldly things would work. God's ways are higher and holier than ours, and his timing is not our timing, but his timing is perfect. He's outside of time, and he knows when everything's going to line up the best because he's the one lining it up. He knows everything before it's going to happen. And the way that I've been talking about all this, I mean, you don't got to believe a single thing, but we can look back on it, and that's what I'm saying. It'll be a testimony to God. And so I'm going to bring Nita home. When I bring her home first day as the puppy that she is, I'm going to get Nita as a puppy. Okay? And I'm ready for her. I've prepared in so many ways. I've got all my carts in line, you know, if you will, before the horse comes. Information-wise, me like emotionally preparing and, you know, dedication to her as the owner of her, preparing in that way. And then, yeah, actually physical things that she will need and that I will need to be her owner, you know. I'm all ready for her. You know, a dog bed, you don't really need a dog bed. I mean, I don't even sleep with a pillow, you know. We just talk about that. It's more natural to not sleep with a pillow. I mean, you kind of have to sleep with a pillow. I've discussed this, you know. If you want to stand vertical in daily life, you have to sleep with your body in the same position as what it would be vertical in daily life, which would be just horizontal on the earth without something elevating your head, which is just pushing your head out of its only neutral spine position. Neutral jaw stabilizing position, right? Anyway, all the information that I've learned about before I get Nita on how to have Nita. And then again, every dog that comes after her. One day Nita will die. Sure, great. This is me getting my cart before the horse. This is me preparing before it happens so that it can happen well. I mean, it couldn't happen on the other end as well. It truly couldn't. Getting your horse before the cart, that wouldn't work as well. Unless God really, like, specifically, personally commanded you to do it that way in your own specific case. God's above all. But, you know, generally, it just doesn't work on that other end. Out of us doing it as human beings, right? It's just is what it is, brother and sister, right? As I say, it's just everyone. I mean, that's just what it is. And so, I don't know. I don't know how long it'll be till I get Nita. I've talked about it. You know, I've said months ago, undocumented in the Image Clothing Company content, I need to get Nita soon. Now, it's been months since then. But God's timing on soon is not our timing on soon. But I've been going to the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter weekly, multiple times a week, or at least, you know, a couple times a month since the beginning of the year in 2025. And it's December 9th today, 2025, and I was there again today, hanging out with the dogs, you know. This is me getting my carts before the horse, essentially. I'm preparing, you know, interacting with dogs and learning a lot of different dogs' temperaments and how dogs behave and what dogs are really saying. You know, some huskies and hound dogs are just so vocal, and they're not mean. Sometimes huskies are just growling and growling and growling, and they're not mad. They're just so vocal, you know? And you have to know these things or you won't know these things. And you might think the dog is going to attack you, and it's actually like happy growls, okay? Certain dogs. You got to be careful with that because, yeah, you could get hurt by a dog. I mean, these are very powerful animals in many cases. But that's what I'm saying is this is me getting carts before my horse so that it'll work better. Yeah, I was over there today at the animal shelter. I was over there a couple times last week. I've been there so many times because that's what I'm doing is I'm essentially doing research firsthand personal experience. Like I say, I speak out of experience as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. I preach what I have practiced. I do things on the back end because they work better that way. I buy dog food from the brand Pure Harmony before I have a dog to feed it to. I could get Nita tomorrow. I could move down to St. George tomorrow. Why not? And in my own personal situation, it's a true why not. I'm mostly all packed up to go when it's time to go. And I have been for about a year. Got my cart before the horse, so I'm just ready to run. Hook the horse up to the cart. When the horse comes, we take off. You see what I mean? I'm not here making claims, dude. Trying not to, anyway. And the things that I say are not claims. I mean, that's what I mean. I've just got proof to back it up. I mean, I'm just doing what I'm doing, and then I'm talking about it. I do it on the back end because you can claim anything, but that's not going to help anyone. Claims is pointless. It's a disservice to yourself and everyone else if you're just claiming things in life. But I do things so that I can just talk about them. I'm in this for life. That's what I mean. I'm here to do big things. I'm here to have a personal, big life. I'm just going to do it through In the Image Clothing Company as the avenue. And In the Image Clothing Company is such a big thing with big impacts to everyone and their dogs. Everybody has one. Everybody has a body. Right? Say it like that because it's weird sounding. Because it's just as real as it gets. So let's be silly about it. Just to show how silly things are. It is what it is, dude. Because I could, me personally, just with my own personal experience, with my own personal relationship with God, with how I am prepared to just do whatever comes. I am packed up to go. I do love change. I am ready to move to St. George, Utah. It could happen tomorrow, literally. Yeah, there's a lot to that, too. My grandparents live in St. George, Utah. That's where I was about 3 weeks ago when I filmed those videos down there. When I say they live there, they also live in this house that I'm sitting in right now in Utah County. They have 2 houses, okay? They go down there because it's warmer for the winter time. And they come up here for the summer. But I'm going to be down in St. George permanently, and I'm not going to live in their house, like permanently at least. I don't know, maybe at first for a while or something. That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm saying is they're going down there tomorrow. I'm not going down there with them tomorrow. But that's just what I mean, is who knows what and when and anything. It's just life, dude. And I'm ready to rip. And I want to sit on that for a second because I mean it like that. Like, I'm just ready to go. Truly, I have prepared. I've gotten my carts ready. It is what it is. I mean, we talk about hand carts. The pioneers, you know, the founders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Well, I mean, yeah, really just the people, yes, right? The people that came to Utah from back east, right? The east side of the United States of America. Utah is just, you know, on the west side of the United States of America. There's only 2 states between us and the west coast. California and Nevada, right, are between us and the ocean here on this west side of the United States of America. And, you know, the pioneers just came across the plains from the east coast. The plains, just meaning, you know, just the open plains of the United States of America. A lot of open desert land. Wintry in the winter, snowy and cold, and then really hot and summery in the summertime. It is what it is. That's what I mean. They pulled hand carts. They took all their stuff across the plains by pulling it. Sure, they had horses where they did, but they just pulled it with their hands. Hand carts. Hand carts. It's the truth of all things. It's literal. The gospel of Jesus Christ. But you got to be ready. You got to have your lamps trimmed and burning brightly to be awaiting the return of the bridegroom, or else you don't see him when he comes and he takes you like a thief in the night. You don't expect it. I'm expecting the unexpected because I serve a God of miracles. I serve a God who's perfect. I serve a God who wants me to do things to prepare, and I'm prepared. I am so prepared. I'm prepared for the world to end. I'm prepared for my mother to die. She's still in the recovery center after having her open heart surgery. Whenever it was Monday, 3 weeks ago today, actually, is what it was. Yeah? 2 weeks ago today? Might have been 2 weeks ago from today. Anyway, documented under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, right? I'm pretty sure my mom's not going to make it through this recovery of her 5-number bypass in her heart with her open heart surgery she had just, a couple weeks ago from today, if that's what it was. I think it was exactly 2 weeks ago from, well, what's technically yesterday now, the 8th, would have been yesterday. It's past midnight, like I said. So it's technically the 9th right now of December 2025. Anyway, I'm prepared to move to St. George at the drop of a hat, if you will. That's a metaphor, right? Just meaning instantly, whenever we go, I go. I'm done. I'm there. Let's get there. When it's God's timing. I'm prepared for God to come. I'm prepared for the second coming of God and for the whole earth to be wiped of its wickedness. I'm wicked, but ideally not as much as I am righteous. Who's to say, right? I'm ready. I'm prepared. I got my cart before I got the horse. But when the horse comes, right? There you go. I mean, you're just ready, dude. Just ready, dude. I'm just ready, dude. Anyway, In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. This shirt has side seams and seams down the sleeves. It's a long sleeve shirt. Okay, this is my first time wearing it, so I modified it just, right before I started filming this video. I put it on, and here we are, okay? It's also got the dreaded collar seam, In the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, keeping collars centered, like I was discussing for human beings and dogs. And so, these things just kind of take a little bit of time to, wear in. When you modify fabric that's been in a certain position, it just has to kind of, relax into its now allowed to be in position. Okay, there you go. Anyway, dog food. I mean, yeah. Get your carts, man. Get your carts. So you're ready for the horse to pull them. Doesn't that make sense? It makes sense. I'm not asking for any kind of answer. I'm telling you that makes sense, because that makes sense. Anyway, there you go. Yeah. Because that's the big thing, is if my mom dies, just a lot will change. A lot will change because I live with her here when she's here. She hasn't been here because she's somewhere else, right, recovering from her heart surgery right now. But if she dies and doesn't end up even coming back to this house, then we're not going to have this house in the same way. Okay, just the way that my family's structured and our living situations are structured right now, and the reasons I'm living here with my mother and my grandparents right now at 26 years old, right? This all would just change if my mom died, And then what? Probably just go straight to St. George, Utah at that point, which could be in the next, who knows how many amount of time, days, hours, whatever, weeks, right? And if not, too, right? That's what I'm saying. Just get your carts ready so you can go when you're ready. Well, when God's ready for you, that's what I mean, you get ready, so when God's ready, you're not in the way. This is me speaking to myself as well, right? Us as human beings, that's how it has to be, is we have to get out of our own way and let God work. But God's not going to force us to do anything. He's given us this gift of agency, which means the ability to choose. And really all that means is we choose to either damn ourselves to hell, damn our own progression. Like I say, right, it's like a river flowing water, and we can damn the progression of the water down the river out of our own doings. Or we can choose to let God prevail and serve him in all of our sinful ways to the best of what we can, and then he'll just move in our lives. God never stops working, but he only works how he says that he works. So we got to know how God works and do things like this and prepare. for stuff that we know is going to happen. Because that's the thing, like I'm saying, it wouldn't be wrong to return the food if it came to being that, just because this is me putting forth the effort to show God, like, look, I'll buy the food, I'll bring it home, even though it doesn't make all that much sense. Kind of, it makes sense, but it, in ways kind of doesn't. Do you see? I can see it on both ends, is what I'm saying. I'm just discussing it. I'm just giving an explanation, and it's so much more of a real, deep, hard-hitting, true explanation when I've actually got a bag of dog food here to show than if I'm just discussing. Hypothetically, let's say I got some dog food before I got a dog. I literally bought some today, and I brought it home, and I showed it here in front of this camera lens. And for those of you in audio only, right, that's what I mean. It's tangible. It's real now. I got my cart ready for my horse to pull. I mean, it's just as real as it gets. That's the whole point. And this is like metaphorically the truth for, well, not metaphorically the truth, but this is the truth and a metaphorical way of seeing how to approach this for anybody's thing in life they're trying to prepare for. Maybe you're not preparing to get a puppy and start a breeding program. Okay, and In the Image Clothing Company's, oh my gosh, that's the point. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles is so much more than just a breeding program. I mean, all that we will do with the poodles is just crazy. Okay, the poodles will always bleed over to all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. And, I mean, the poodles are like just as much the main reason to have In the Image Clothing Company as what we do for human beings through allowing the body to work. I mean, it's just as big of a thing, Man, it's not like there's four options of In the Image Clothing Company. There's four sides of this thing as a whole, right? It's like I say, the dynamic of a human being, and there's so many sides to me as one person. Each of those sides isn't a different thing. Each of those sides is part of all that I am. Serving the great I am, Jesus Christ, God himself. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? And all of a sudden I'm screaming. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because I'm loud enough for you to. I get it. But that's why. Because I'm speaking things as they are and they need to be said. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm praying through everything I'm praying through. I'm just making it clear. I'm praying through everything I'm doing. That's the only way it's going to work. Like, actually, properly work. I wouldn't be talking about some kind of company or brand. Man, I click my knuckles like this. Okay, just for context. Getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue, chipping away at bones. Holy. Anyway. It is what it is. The point, I just wanted to address it. Because I'm not popping my knuckles. First off, the way that people, like, crack their knuckles. I used to do it all the time. I don't now, because my body's allowed to be in its neutral positions, and so it's not all bound up and having problems. Okay, that's why people do that. Anyway, the physicality of emotions. I mean, this is as real as it gets, dude. That's an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I'm not mad. I know that I just yelled, but that's what I'm addressing here, actually, is after I yelled, I like clicked and cracked my knuckles, but not out of nervousness. So I wanted to address it because I, can do what I just did. I referenced an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast there. Okay, the physicality of emotion, or the physicality of emotions, whatever it's exactly titled. Okay, something like that. And then also, actually, truly getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue. We're literally chipping away at bones, bone spurs, and built up, bone mass and cartilage marbling, scar tissue, and just incorrect workings in the body can be rid without surgery. We give the actual true fixes here. No claim. And don't believe it either. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I just got my carts, I've got my carts and I've just got them lined up and ready to be pulled. Once the horse comes, we hook it up and we get on the road. Do you see what I mean? And I do too. I just have documented visual proof, video proof, audio proof. It's just proof. It's there. It's done. It has been had. It has been done. It's done. That's what I mean. Set up for success. We are. And I'm ready for a shift. I'm ready for God to move, but it's not my timing. But I've done what I need to do, and I couldn't claim it. I've got proof. It's not about trying to prove something, just to be clear, but it's about, like I'm saying, being a testimony to God. Because I can't do this on my own. I'm waiting for God to move in my life. I'm not really doing much of anything other than just like preparing when God directs me to. That's what I'm saying, right? Which is so crazy because that's the only thing you can do. That's the only way it actually works. Anyway, dude, I mean, just sitting here looking at this bag of Pure Harmony dog food. Oh, shoot. I played with some awesome dogs today, man. I mean, technically you'd say that I went over and volunteered at the animal shelter. I just don't want to sound like some hero. I just went and hung out with some awesome dogs. It was great. See what I mean? It just is what it is. I'm just discussing life, dude. I just love it. I just love to live this life I've been given by God. All the ups and downs, and it's hard. It's rough. But yeah, dogs are great, dude. Dogs are so cool. There's this cool poodle mix, I dog on mutts. I say a mutt is a mutt, and then I say, hey, yeah, well, check the context behind it and why I say it. For the health of dogs, purebred is pure. Okay, it's in the phrasing. It's in the literal wording of why we call them that. But there's a beautiful mixed dog today. It's that, times and places. Just it's for the health of the dogs. Purebred dogs as the ideal. But there was this. I think it was an Australian Shepherd mixed with a poodle. It was a stocky little dog, but he had poodle hair that I could tell was like Australian Shepherd type fur. It was like, what? It's such a cool dog. Those are two beautiful dog breeds. It's like I say, golden doodles, golden retrievers are awesome. And if you know, I love poodles, right? The founder of In the Image Clothing Company with 1/4 of us as In the Image Clothing Company poodles. I love poodles, purebred standard poodles specifically. But this dog, it was about a medium size, it was about Australian Shepherd size, but it was a poodle mix. It was an awesome dog. Holy cow. Is a male. I just loved sitting there on the grass with his dog. He was awesome. He had more energy than I would want to be keeping up with all of the time. When I say do everything dogs, really our goal with breeding and what dogs we will pick, as in the Image Clothing Company in the Image Clothing Company poodles, is well-rounded dogs. Do everything dogs means dogs that can have a lot of good energy, to run and play and be hyper in times, but also be able to relax in times. That's the ideal, and that's what we'll try to do all that we can to do with the dogs that we select to breed, to have the temperament come through like that. Because some dogs, if you just can't get them to settle down just about ever, it's just a lot to deal with. And sometimes that's okay, depending on who you are as the owner and how your family is, as like the owning family. Owning? The family that is owning. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, the owners of the dog, and your lifestyle. But I'm so chill. I need a dog that can also just relax, if I can get that to be the case. Dogs are individuals. But this dog was so cool because I do love Australian Shepherds. I love those dogs. But I really don't like shedding, and poodles just about don't shed at all, right? Just about as much as a human being would lose hair occasionally is how much poodles shed, give or take. Cool dog though today. Looking at my pants here to see if I still have some dog hair or fur. I mean, I played with multiple different dogs today, so I'm just wondering if I could find some hair or fur on my clothing still, and I did. Those of you in visual plus audio, right? It is what it is. It's as real as it gets. I don't know. I'm just here doing what I'm doing, man, and I'm just documenting it. I'm just a human being on this earth, and I just, I understand life pretty well. I really do. Yeah. I just have a lot of experience in life, and a lot of that was not my choice, not something I could like brag about. Things I got placed into situationally that weren't my choice, but taught me a lot, and that's good. But it can also be extremely hard in the moment and throughout it. So anyway, it is what it is, dude. Anyway, oh, my neck, dude. Not a bad thing. I'm wearing these new shoes. I got some new shoes at the Deseret Industries thrift store today as well. This shirt was $5, as far as I'm aware. I think it was $5, I think it was $5. These shoes were $8. I won't show them right here. Maybe one day I will. They're cool. They're leather. High top type shoes, barefoot type shoes. They're just awesome. It's just cool. Life's just great. It's just such a ride, man. It's just, you never expect it. But being in expectation of certain things, there's certain things we can do to prepare. And that's really how things are going to work the best. I mean, I'm here to do things proper, I'm here to like have nice things, if you will. That's a saying around this time, somebody will like mistreat something and somebody else will jokingly say, this is why we can't have nice things, I don't know if it came from like a TV show or if it just is a popular saying that just kind of came to be at this time or how long people have been saying it. Anyway, that's the point though. Just treating things nice and being intentional about things. Doing things properly, intentionally. That's how we are as in the Image Clothing Company. I'm just giving context, I guess, now, as it just is what it is. But I guess that's what I'm saying is preparing for things before they come makes things a smoother transition when they come into your life. I mean, getting a puppy is like having a baby. That's what I mean. I mean, you can't have a baby and then say you'll get things for the baby. The cart before the horse is like diapers before the baby, like a crib before the baby, like bottles and, whatever it is before the baby. I mean, you have to have certain things before you give birth to a baby because babies require certain things before they're even born. I mean, we talk about pregnancy. Well, okay, yeah, we breed purebred standard poodles under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. But on one of these past few episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, I was talking about just human being, women, female pregnancy, right? We talk about it, allowing the body to work. Well, the body comes from being born out of the womb of a woman. Pregnancy is the way that we come to be a human being at all anyway. God himself, Jesus Christ, was born from a woman. Pregnancy is a big thing we talk about. And what I'm saying with it, correlating it with this right now, is what I was saying. There's certain things you have to get before you have a baby. If you're going to have the baby, just kind of like have the smoothest transition it can have into the worldly existence we bring it into, right? When the baby's born. You prepare a room for the baby, or if the baby's just going to be in your room, but you have just all the things you're going to need for the baby. Really all the things the baby is going to need. The general things, like this, the general things. You can tweak and fine-tune things and maybe get some more things that you might be able to use and maybe really need and only in certain cases or something at times. But not really either. I mean, I just don't want to make it even sound more complicated than it is. We only need what we need, and our lives actually work better the more simple they are. The gospel of Jesus Christ in itself is so simple. The good news of God is he's here now. He knows you. He loves you. He forgave you before you did it. You know, I mean, that's the good news of God and its simplicity. The good news of owning a dog is food, restraint, hydration, clean up after it, give it a place to sleep. I mean, what else do you really need? And if I'm like forgetting something that's like obvious and important that I just didn't think about right now, then whatever. But that's what I mean. It is just only a few things that are actually needed. Okay. Anyway, that's just how it is. That's how life is, dude. I'm gonna cut it. I don't know, maybe not, but I think I am. I'm just so ready. I mean, that's what it is. It's like this like impatient anticipation while I'm trying to be as patient as I can. It's been a crazy past few years, and I'm just ready for In the Image Clothing Company to launch because I'm ready to do big things, but I'm doing big things before, you know, other people are involved in this. I mean, I'm doing big things. This is a big thing, documenting this one specific episode out of the, as of this one, 188 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. This is a big thing. This is a life-lasting thing that I'm doing here. That's the thing, is I get impatient, you know? That's really what it is it's on the end of impatience, getting the horse before the cart. If you're not going to be patient enough to have all the things ready for the thing you actually get, and I mean, that's really what it is. It's you're impatient, and so you have to get the thing, but then you have to hurry and scramble to get all the things you need for the thing. Patiently, you know, gather the things you need before you actually get the main thing. Gather your carts, you know, then get your horse. That's how it works. I mean, that's actually just the truth of how it works. Again, in most all cases. Okay. Man, it just is what it is, bro. So, man, my jaw. Gratitude is really what that is, you know, to God for what he's done for me. All that my jaw has gone through, you know, through this getting out of what it was in. It's been crazy. It's been crazy, man. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. That's where I'm sitting with this time period. I don't know if my mom's going to die. If I'm going to get a text from somebody saying that my mom passed away. And I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know when exactly I'm going to move to St. George, Utah. I don't know when exactly I'm going to get NIDA. I don't know exactly where I'm going to live down there. Like, not exactly. I know it'll be in the town of St. George, Utah for life. But I don't know, right? I don't know, God. I mean, that's my prayer. That's like, I'm just in this, what you could call limbo state. I've been in limbo for, I've been in that kind of state in ways for years, but right now it's much different because I'm on the cusp of a lot of big change. And it's great. But it's just this whole, like, I just don't know. I don't even know anymore. And not in a bad way, but it's just, I mean, it's just, things are crazy, you know? Life is just crazy. And this in itself will be such a testament because I know, but I don't know. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, and that's where we need to be sitting with God, is this, like, yeah, in that kind of state where we know he's going to do something big. We've got, like, such a big idea. Darn, that's crazy to say. We've got a really good, we know pretty well what he's going to do, is what I'm saying. But we don't know how, and we don't know when. And we just can't rush it. We can't force it. We can't really be upset that it's not here yet, but also it's totally understandable for us to be a little bit upset that we don't know when it's going to happen and that it's not here yet. And not even out of just like greed for just wanting to have it right now, but just to fulfill our plan, to fulfill what we're supposed to do. It's a good, like, eager anticipation kind of impatience while trying to be as patient as we can. It's a good thing, you know? It's like having a child. It's like me waiting for Nita, right? You're impatient just because you're so excited for it. You're so ready for it. You've got so much love for the thing before it comes. That's the point. You're so excited for the horse, you get the cart all ready. That's what I'm saying. That's just how it works. And then we'll look back at this after the fact because I did it beforehand. It's just how it is. You can't look back at the cart you're pulling unless you first hook the cart to the horse. I mean, how literal do you want to be with it? I ask those kind of questions sometimes. It's like, it kind of seems to me like, who am I even directing that question to? Like, you know? What it really is God asking me, like, well, how literal do you want to be? Because this is just the truth of all things, you know? And I'm just like, I know, Father. It's kind of like his way of saying, like, you're doing a pretty good job at being patient. Just try to keep being patient, you know? Yeah. My life looks how my life looks right now, and I know to a degree, pretty good degree, you know, as to why. But that doesn't mean that it's not hard to be patient, you know? That doesn't mean that it's not hard to, like, disobey all the voices around me telling me to do other things, or I should be doing more, or I should be doing this, or in the meantime, you could, and then insert whatever there, you know, that people say. I mean, it's hard, but it's also it's just God and I, and that's it, you know. The world can kick you out. Quote, being driven out drives you closer to God, unquote. If it's titled something just like that. An episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. That's what I mean. I mean, kick me out, drive me out, tell me I'm this and that, and put all your labels on me and your opinions on what I'm doing here. I'm only doing here what I'm doing here, right? Truth is truth, brother. It is what it is. And I'm not going to even try to explain to you what it is if I'm not going to be trying to explain to you in that instant what it is. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And sometimes we don't even get to see what's happening until we can look back at the cart that's being pulled by our horse. Right? I mean, it's just a testament. It's just a testimony. It's just the truth. It's just, you can claim whatever you want, but what actually happens? It's just gratitude. It's just faith. It's just life. We can just say that it's just, you know, and then just put in these things that are universal. I mean, it just is what it is. See what I mean? Even that in itself. It's just it's just a bag of dog food by the brand Pure Harmony. It's just another step. It's just faith in every footstep. It's just looking forward because you've, you know, come from somewhere. I mean, oh my gosh. Or it's just looking back on what you've done because you're taking steps to move forward, you know? It's just as real as it gets. It's just as obvious as it is once you see it. It's just God's plan. Just take your hands off the wheel. It's just hold out a little longer. It's just endure to the end. How simple can we make it, you know? It's just food, water, shelter, and love. It's just life, dude. It's just what it is. It's just different for everybody, and we're just all the same. It's just another episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. It's just another day. It's just another death, but it's just another birth. It's just a probationary state, this earthly life, between dwelling with God on either end. And it's just another kid sitting on the floor speaking to a camera. It's just another date-marked documentation. It's just a little deeper context on what we really do as in the Image Clothing Company and all four sides. It's just another explanation on Nita, the poodle that I still don't have yet. I mean, what more do you want? Because get it. I guarantee you'll ask for something else if you're not content where you are. Just sitting in the back of the bus, if you will. You know what you know if you know where that comes from. You know, United States of America history, we'll say it like that. It's just being pulled behind something. It's just being in last place because the last will be first. It's just giving it all up. Because you have to lose your life to gain it. But you have to lose your life for the sake of Jesus Christ. It's just a $8 pair of genuine leather boots that I didn't know I was getting until I got there today. They're probably like $150 plus shoes, new, and they're just about brand new. They're wonderful. It's just a simple prompting. It's just, hey, look at this, and you won't know why until later when I set these Zero Denver leather boots here last night. This is not a location that I would have just set them otherwise. But God had me looking at them close. And they're actually similar construction in a lot of ways to these boots I got today that I didn't know were going to be at the thrift store until I got there. It's just a $50 bill that I didn't have until yesterday. That today allowed me to buy the things that I needed to buy. It's just staying a little longer somewhere when you could leave, but you get a slight prompting to stay, and beautiful things come from it. It's just sharing your experience on whatever it is, even if you don't think it's going to be that impactful, and somebody's life is changed because of it. It's just speaking a simple little sentence that doesn't seem like it's much of anything to you. It changes someone's life. It's just a simple smile, a simple wave, a simple hi, or hello. Or make it kind of simple and say, hey, what's up? What's up, y'all? It's just another what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Or it's just today, another what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is a video on our main side, one of our fourths. And I made a video on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company today talking about what it was titled, which was the importance of non-forgiving waistbands. The importance of a non-forgiving waistband. It's just, hey, title it how you title it, but be intentional as well. And I sat there and I tried to figure out which of those two was actually the word-for-word title, because I reference videos back, and how am I going to say it when I do? It's just laying a foundation. That's just episode 100 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. The title of it, anyway. It's just buy a $9.12 bag of dog food. Bring it home. On the 8th of December, 2025. Before you even have a poodle to feed. Or a dog of any kind under your ownership. It's just what it is. We couldn't make it be anything else. Really what it is a gift. A gift of video. It's just the gift of video. So just keep making them. It's just the documentation, so why not do it? It's just an opinion, so don't listen. It's just a prompting, but it'll take you where it needs, where you need to go if it's from Jesus Christ. It's just a hiatus. It's just a break. It's just a little time out. But you'll learn so much and come back much stronger. It's just a little setback. It's actually a jump start in disguise. Thank you.